I'm Jason Dimiceli, Director of Bands at McNeil High School in Austin, Texas.
Welcome to Sketchbook Podcast, a discussion about creativity, preparation, and effort with artists, creators, and educators. As always, I'm your host, Daniel Montoya Jr., Jason Dimiceli, right?
Sure.
Can I say it that way?
Sure.
But you have to hold the hand. You can't see me at home. I'm doing the hand thing, right? The universal Italian symbol.
The universal, yeah.
That makes it easier for me to order Italian food.
You know, me too. Me too.
Does your daughter, we won't say her name unless you say it, does she come home and go, Daddy, Daddy? She does the hand thing?
No, she kind of just goes upstairs.
How old's your daughter now?
16.
You do not have a 16-year-old daughter.
I do.
Holy moly. I was just thinking today, the last time I was at your house, humble brag, your daughter came in and she must have been she was little.
Yeah.
And she told me that she liked to eat her crackers with goat cheese upside down because it touched her tongue first.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I remember about your daughter.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that, and you sent me a photo of her wearing your shirt.
Oh, gosh, the shirt. Yeah.
What's interesting is I was going to do a shirt for you this year, and then they canceled school. So can you describe the process of this shirt or how it started or any of that, Jason, for the listeners at home?
Okay.
If you remember. I'm laughing just thinking about it.
I do. This had to be, at least 10 years ago. For Band Banquet, our color guard got this ridiculous picture, this Photoshop picture of a chef with a big face of mine on there with the Leaning Tower of Pisa in the background. And you walk into my office one day and you said, that is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Uh-huh.
And then you had me take a picture holding that picture with my face, and then a couple years later, you just dropped by school one day and you said, I have something for you. And of course I'm like, oh gosh. And it's this t-shirt of the picture of me holding the picture of me.
Yes.
And I guess there'll be another.
There would have been. This would have been the year of a picture, another shirt of you wearing a shirt holding the picture of you. Yes. It's very Inception. And
so my daughter wears it on occasion.
Does she still wear it? Really?
She wears it on occasion. Yeah.
Wow. She wears the big version, right? The extra large or?
No, it's the medium.
I gave her a small one, right? Or something.
Oh, no,
like
she wears, she's adult size now. She's like 5'7".
She's adult size now. She's a real human being. Why was I in your band hall, Jason? That doesn't make any sense.
That was back whenever you used to arrange for us.
What? Wait a minute. Used to? That word gets thrown around. That so rarely here. Used. I was thinking about how I was going to start this off, and I was gonna say,
I knew it.
I was going to say, Jason, you're one of the only programs who has ever fired me twice.
That's
and
true.
Then you would go, well, we also hired you.
I was going to say
twice.
we also hired you twice.
But I started thinking, I was like, nope, there's that one. So I think there's like half a dozen programs that have actually come back to it, and you do have the opportunity to be the first one to come back for the third time. We can just announce it now if you'd like.
We are very happy with our current arranger.
I'm sure. How many shirts has your current arranger given you?
None.
What about the arranger you fired me for initially? How many shirts did that person give you?
None.
Okay, I just want to clarify. How many times has either of those arrangers been to your house?
Our current one has been to my house 3 times.
Okay, that's about as much as me. I think we're even. Okay, well, whatever. How many times have they come and had lunch at your band hall in your office?
No lunch.
Oh, okay.
But we did do dinner at my house.
Yeah, it's messed up. All right, I'm just trying to paint the picture here that I'm better at social life, social interactions with the McNeil band.
I don't think anyone doubts your social capabilities.
Jason, what is the mascot of the McNeil High School?
The Mavericks.
Can we talk about your mascot? Is that a subject we can broach?
Sure.
You have a lifelike mascot of
oh my gosh, yes. Oh gosh.
How did
I remember the first you came to a game. Okay, so for everyone, it's this whenever the team scores, there's this life-size ceramic, or I guess horse that's on this platform, and so they wheel it and they just go across the sideline, and it is, but then they lift it up. Mm-hmm. So it's on its hind legs, and it is anatomically correct. And so Daniel, he comes to the game and they score a touchdown and his jaw drops.
How many football games did your other Rangers go to, by the way?
None. They are not local.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, one was out of state. That would have been kind of hard.
That's not commitment. I'm pretty committed. I'd like to go into the Montoya Bowls when McNeil played Westwood. Guess what? They both fired me. That's okay. You handled it better than certain programs did. So, Mr. Dimiceli, you're from Houston, huh?
I am from Houston.
Houston or Houston?
Houston.
Houston. Am I just wrong that people don't pronounce it Houston?
I think you're confusing Humble.
And Utto?
No,
makes sense.
no.
Where did you go to high school? I mean, I know where you went to high school, but people don't know at home.
I went to Eisenhower High School.
Is that Dwight Eisenhower?
It is Dwight D. Eisenhower High School.
And who was your high school band director?
I had several.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Oh, I only remember the one.
No, I had several. So
Okay.
my freshman year was Greg Goodman.
That's right.
And Mary Santorelli
Okay.
and John Hinojosa.
Okay.
And then Greg and Mary left after that year.
Did they go to Pflugerville? Or is that where Greg went next?
No, Greg went up to Georgetown before he went to Dickinson.
Oh, geez. Oh, okay. I forget. You're a little older than me. This is... gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just maybe like a year or two.
I think so.
All right.
And then I believe that's when Mary went down to Dickinson. She was there a long time until like a year ago with John. And then we had Ken Wilbanks come in my sophomore year, and then Brian Sedetall came in as head director. And other teachers I had were Kelly Parks, or I guess Kelly Kading, and she's remarried now. And I also had Dean Ponsetti, who's now at Judson. Yeah. The first job for Daniel Galloway was the third director teaching me and some others. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I had a lot of band directors.
And what school district is Eisenhower?
It is in the Aldine Independent School District.
You're from Aldine. Huh?
I am.
All right. So is Mike Howard's wife Amber from Aldine, or is it A-Leaf? I think she's A-Leaf.
I don't know.
A-Leaf is different than Aldine, right?
It's on the other side of town.
I don't know what that means. Houston's big. What other people that I would know, or that the listeners would know, went to high school with you in Eisenhower?
Oh, wow. We had, we had quite a few, actually.
Okay.
We did. Let's see. I guess we'll go from oldest. Terry McKinney.
Terry McKinney. That's right. Percussionist extraordinaire. Went to UT. Taught at Westwood for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. He's principal in the Baton Rouge Symphony.
That's what
plays a lot with the Houston Symphony as well. Also teaches lessons up in the Woodlands area.
Oh, okay.
And let's see. We also had Dr. Cliff Crooms.
Dr. Clifford Crooms, who we have talked about many times as our black friend.
He's my best friend in the world.
Is he? Is he your only black friend, Jason?
No.
Oh, Ogechi. I forgot we know Ogechi. There we go. So Cliff and Terry. We mentioned Terry. Okay, yeah. So, all right, continue. All right, yeah. You getting uncomfortable, Jason?
No, I'm not. I'm good.
We talk real here. We keep it real.
And it's not like it's any different than when we don't have microphones in front of us. So we also had, I don't know if you know Andres Aya.
Oh my God, yeah. I love that guy. Yes, Strong Bad fame. It's fine. It's okay. Yeah, he was at Alvin. Now he's at SFA.
He's at Stephen F. Austin. Yeah,
he was a Cavalier. Went to UT.
Yeah, once a Cavalier, always Cavalier.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
And then Dr. Brett Richardson.
Brett Richardson? Wait. He went to school with you?
He's a year to the day younger than me. Yeah.
No way. Yeah. You know what's so weird is he seems so much older than you.
Yeah.
Maybe because you're like, he's a doctor and he's teaching at
but he's also like 12 years old at the same time.
He is. The more weight he loses, the younger he sends to be like, oh, you're such a nerd. In a good way. Yeah.
So I was in a high school band with all those guys.
That's crazy. And all of them are doctors except for you, right? Is Terry McKinney a doctor?
He might be.
I feel like
he might
is.
be. He might be.
And then Dr. Clifford.
I guess I'm just Dre. Dre.
Yeah. That's right. So you two are just band director.
We're the runts of the litter, I guess.
That's right. Golly, you haven't done anything. So why did you decide to go to the University of Texas at Austin? I know why. I mean, come on. But why did you pick that school? Were there any other options? What was the deal with that? I
actually, I wanted to go into music. In high school, my parents did not want me to go into music, so I was originally accepted in mechanical engineering to UT.
Wow, at UT. So you were smart, right? At one point,
you said it. Yeah.
and you are what instrument player, by the way?
I'm a trumpet player.
Trumpet player. That's so weird. You do not have the personality type for that.
I appreciate that comment.
and Levi, I think, are like anti-trumpet players.
Unless
you know a different Levi than I do.
No,
but-
I know Levi. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Okay, that's weird. Anyway, continue. You're such a nice guy, and you're humble, and you're like Evan. Evan doesn't make sense to be a trumpet player either.
I don't know. I learned my trumpet professor was the great Ray Crisera, and that was his vibe too. He was just the nicest human being on the planet. So you learn a lot from your teachers.
Makes sense. So you went to UT for mechanical engineering. Did you start that way or not?
I got accepted there, and then the whole time I was like, Mom, Dad, like I want to be a band director. I want to do it. And they thought it was a phase. And so whenever finally they knew that it wasn't going to go away, then my mom, she was like, okay, you can switch, but don't do the music yet. Do undeclared, and then maybe you'll. I don't know. She was going to see if I was going to change my mind.
Right.
No, and then I auditioned for drum corps, and then I think at that point she knew I was serious, and so then I just had to get into the trumpet studio with Mr. Crisera.
And that was easy, right?
No, no, the trumpet studio, especially back then, was pretty stout.
Yeah. Now back then, who were the band directors at UT? Obviously, Jerry Junkin was still there.
Yeah, Jerry Junkin. So the director of Longhorn Band was Paula Kreider.
You're that old. Wow.
Yeah.
'Cause I was talking to Damien Gonzalez, whose episode may or may not air, and he was like, "Oh, Kevin said it all," and I was like, "Oh my God, that's right." But you're even further than that.
I had Kevin as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I did Longhorn Band for 2 years. And so Miss Kreider's last year, I think, was my last year in band. And then Dr. Sedetall came in. Yeah. And then we also had to see Mark Belsick was there, but then Greg Martin was there.
Not familiar. But that's okay.
It's okay.
I was having a great time at Southwest Texas at the time. I mean, not that you didn't have a great time, but I had a really good time.
We had a good time.
It took me 6.5 years. That's how good of a time I had at Southwest Texas. So you mentioned the Cavaliers, or you mentioned drum corps.
I did mention drum corps.
But we're going to talk about the Cavaliers now. You marched the Cavaliers.
I did.
The We Are the Cavaliers, the Men of the Cavaliers. What's the song?
We are the core of the Cavaliers.
The core of the Cavaliers. That's right. I make fun of it so much, I don't even know what the truth is anymore. Did you do Shoop or not?
I did.
That's right.
In fact,
did Shoop. Shoop.
Oh, yeah. So that was fun. I just say that show was ahead of its time.
You know what it really is.
It really was. We maybe just weren't very good. So it didn't really matter what the design was.
Right.
So Michael James, he's a designer for our Winter Guard now. Okay. But Michael James also did all the Shoop choreography back then in 1997.
Oh, the Firebird.
The Firebird show, yeah. And so I just remember this one time we were rehearsing in California, and I'm this new guy, and I'm just trying not to be noticed at all. But it's like I wanted to really, really prove myself, and so I was just going after it, 100%. And then we finished the rep of just the opening choreography, and then Michael James says, "What's his number?" Or he says my number, and then he said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Jason." And he said, "Jason, will you do it for the entire corps?" And I was like, "Oh goodness!" And then so I did, and he was like, "Yeah." And it was a good moment for me. He's like, "Everybody needs to commit like Jason is." And I was like, "Oh gosh," I was just trembling. In fact, I'm trembling like right now, like reliving it. Yeah.
So 97. Did you march with Clifford Crooms?
He did 98.
Manuel Maldonado.
He was 99. Yeah.
Now, is Pete Weber your age, or he's younger?
Pete's a year older than me. So Pete was my drum major my first 2 years.
That's where it was. Yeah. Peter Weber, famed drill designer, orchestra director now of sorts. Okay, so he was drum major for Shoop. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why I get the timelines mixed up, because my brother marched in 01 and 02, and I don't there's this, all of y'all marched in this era of the Cavaliers, because y'all are of certain ages, right?
Yes.
Did you only march 1 year?
I marched 3 years.
Oh, 97, 98, 99?
Yes, I call them the setup years.
I was about to say, so you set them up, setup men, right, as it is in baseball.
Yeah.
So you have this history of being a quote-unquote setup person. You like to say that you, Jason Dimiceli, personally made Pete Weber and me, right? I mean, you made our careers.
I don't know if I personally did. I said writing for McNeil... I don't know, after 1 year writing for McNeil, it's kind of when y'all took off.
Yeah. So we should thank you and Travis and Miss Pritchard.
You can if you want.
Ian Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, so everyone out there, you can thank Jason one way or the other, for better or for worse, for my career on that. What's it like having yet another Louisiana grad as your percussion teacher?
It's just normal.
Probably normal.
This is my 16th year at McNeil.
That's right. Yeah, your bio's out of date.
Sorry.
It's fine.
And we've always had an LSU grad on there, so it's not like it's just you go to work and there's LSU around. So
right. So was it a fun week that leading up to the game? It had to be the UT LSU game, right?
Oh, that game.
Was there a different game?
I thought you meant the national championship game.
Oh.
Well, I mean, working with an LSU grad, it's every week is an LSU week. But the UT LSU, no, it was. And at that point in the season, both teams were supposed to be good. Nobody knew how good LSU was going to be. I think maybe people thought Texas was going to be better than they ended up being.
We always think Texas is going to be better.
So at that point, things were kind of balanced out,
right?
And so, was second week of the year, and so no, it was. I think we were quite realistic and very, I guess, both humble about things,
right? Because it could go either way,
right?
Because Joe Burrow hadn't become Joe Burrow yet.
Because as a UT fan, I learned, and growing up as a Houston sports fan, I've learned that you can't talk crap until like the end of the last game.
That's interesting that you mentioned that. Being a Houston sports fan, was it painful to listen to me and Ogechi talk about Houston sports?
No, because it wasn't like that was the first time I had gone through that in my head. So.
What's the worst Houston sports cut that you've experienced in your life?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean like the deepest?
Yeah, like the deepest cut for a Houston sports team.
It's probably what happened to the Astros recently, or the first Bills game.
I was going to say, yeah, go back and oh my God, the Oilers were so good. Oh gosh, what was a 30-something point lead?
It was a 30. I think it was a 35-0 lead, and they ended up losing 38-35 or 41-38, something like that.
Oh God! So that was that. You carried that for a long time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then you felt like you had avenged that, right?
Well, I don't know. That one hurt really bad because a few years later they were gone.
Yeah, that's true. They went to Tennessee. Oh,
yeah,
awful. And then what was the most recent? Was it playoffs against the Bills?
Yes, that was. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. The divisional round.
That was not last, because this year they lost to the Chiefs, right? I'm confused.
Oh, never mind. Oh, no. It was the Bills.
Yes.
We'll have to edit all this.
No, we're not going to edit this out.
No,
this year was the Chiefs.
No, they did actually. They beat the Bills.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was right. Yeah. Y'all had, like, that's why, because I was everybody, they got to heal. This was the game that healed them, only to get another cut the
because
next
I had
week.
family who was a Bills fan, and they were just really I don't know, talking crap afterward. I was like, oh, too soon.
God.
But I didn't talk any crap because I was like, I know how that felt
a
long time ago.
So how'd you feel about them almost, quote unquote, beating the Chiefs, but then not?
Obviously it didn't feel good. The thing that was different about this time was their lead was really early, and then the comeback started early. It wasn't like a last minute kind of deal. So you saw it. It was like a slow drip.
Gotcha.
The whole time. And at that point, having been an experienced Houston fan, I was like, I know what's going to happen. So it wasn't a shock.
Right.
Yeah, but then like the next day is when the Astros news.
So let's talk about the Houston. You're wearing a Houston shirt.
I am. I'm wearing my Astros shirt. Yeah.
Does it say Astros on the back?
Well, it's just a Houston.
Yeah, it's in the colors. It's in the man. We all know everyone cheats. Let's just put that out there, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think the Astros are getting picked on so much?
Oh man, that's
because they're not saying they're sorry, or what?
No, honestly, I think it's maybe a few reasons. I think number one, they're really good.
Sure.
So if it were the Marlins doing it, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. I think that's a big reason. I think it's because they are not the Yankees or not the Red Sox and not the Dodgers. I think that's another big one.
Sure.
So, and I guess, the way that they did it, I don't know. I guess it just rubbed a lot of them the wrong way. We can really go down this rabbit hole because I have lots of opinions on all this. But
I'm sure you do. You're a native, so do you feel it's personal?
I feel it personally. I feel bad for the players. I really do.
Sure. Even the ones that cheated?
Yeah. Because guys who used PEDs didn't get it this bad.
Yes.
I
think you're right.
And that to me is much, much worse. Because that affected everyone's next contract. It affected, it just affected the entire the entire sport.
Right. So. Do you agree with the people who say that, yes, everyone cheats, but their cheating went too far, maybe?
I would say, yeah, they did. And whenever I say I feel bad for the players, it's because people are taking it way too far. Like their families are getting like their lives threatened and everything. I'm like, come on, people.
Yeah, it's just baseball.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. All right. I hear you. Well, let's talk about better times. Let's talk about UT football. I'd like your reaction when I say the following. Okay. Vince Young.
Awesome.
Huh? That's very good. Michael Crabtree. You seriously, right?
It was more. It's either Michael Crabtree or Blake Gideon. I don't know.
Yes, because he dropped the interception. Yeah, that's awful.
Because the game over if he would have just kept it.
Yeah. Well, 27-25. Do you know that one?
I know it. Oh wait, you're gonna have to remind me on that one.
Justin Tucker.
Oh, right.
You're expressing change too. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
A sweet victory, right?
Yeah.
Over the little brother, basically. Yeah. Poor guys. Oh well. Charlie Strong.
I liked Charlie Strong.
Agree.
Yeah. No, I did. I felt he was the right coach at the time. I think because he got rid of a lot of the entitlement.
I'll agree with that.
And I really, and in fact, I adopted a lot of what I, as a teacher, what I saw him do, just like his core values and kind of non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And so
I agree. Just didn't do it on the field.
It didn't. And it's a performance business and there's a lot of money going around. And
yeah.
So,
yeah, that's right. It's 1:32 p.m.
And OU still sucks.
Yes, there we go. I was just like,
I thought you were going to follow.
No. I wanted, you're right. They do. They still do. Contrary to popular belief, just because you go to the playoffs every year doesn't mean you don't suck. You are a native Texan, and I'd like to know your thoughts on the following. Okay. But I'm going to start off with a different question.
Okay.
Favorite Italian food, and you can't say your own.
Oh.
Didn't you say that the best Alfredo sauce is Olive Garden once? Or am I just...
No. I said that's what they do. Like, that's the best thing they do.
That's the best thing they do.
I think so.
Doesn't mean it's great. It just means that's the best thing they do.
No, but an Alfredo, which it really makes me mad when Italian restaurants do not have a good Alfredo sauce, because that just means they're cheating. Because it's the simplest thing in the world.
Is it?
To make. But my favorite Italian food, I mean... To be honest, I don't eat out Italian a lot because I
would imagine
because I cook it. But I discovered recently Botticelli's.
Oh.
On South Congress.
Oh, I'm not aware.
It's like right next to the Continental Club.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah, all handmade stuff. It's great.
I thought you were going to say Fazoli's, but is Fazoli's the best fast food Italian restaurant? Aren't they the only one?
I can't. I mean, we have to cater that for the band.
Oh no!
And the kids love it.
Oh, they don't know any better, right?
You're right.
Yeah, it's like people who eat at Chuy's or Torchy's. Because they just don't know any better.
Well, I've been thinking about this one. I knew this was going to come up. Yeah.
All right. So I say favorite taco, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Now, you're from Houston, which I think probably has better tacos than Austin. But
the taco scene, at least in my life, changed in the last 20 years.
Okay.
Right? And I've been in Austin.
You have?
Yeah, I've been in Austin since 96.
1996.
Except for the 1 year I went to Houston.
That's right, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. But I think, honestly, my favorite tacos, I like Harding Corona.
Yes, you took me there once, and I must have got a dish that just didn't sit well with me. I need to go back.
It happens at Mexican restaurants.
Yeah, right. He's like, oh, hey. All right, I'm gonna have to try that again. Is there a specific one?
Okay, what we do is every game day morning, Chris McCarthy he'll go by there and he'll pick up their supreme breakfast tacos, and it kind of has anything you would possibly put into a breakfast taco. It's in this taco.
Oh, it's like they call it a hippo down in the Houston area.
I don't know. You see,
it's like bacon, egg, chorizo, cheese, like just everything that is breakfasty.
Yeah.
Ooh, refried beans.
Yes, refried beans.
Supreme breakfast taco?
Yeah, Supreme breakfast taco, and it's like $3.79.
Are they still open?
They actually in the last week they moved into a new location right there at 183 in Anderson Mill.
Okay, because were they off of Pond Springs?
They're right on Pond Springs.
That's right, because we are recording this. This is one of the famed Corona tapes that we'll hear
That's right.
later
It's
on.
Harding
Corona. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Okay, so why don't you give me your take on Torchy's then, since you were ready for this apparently? Yes, Jason.
It depends. How do you define a taco?
Well, I call that place just like Velvet Taco or whatever. They're fusion tacos, right?
Okay.
Kind of like Hop Dottie is with hamburgers. So
Right.
I don't consider them to be an authentic taco place. That's the way I feel about it. But I guess if you put food between tortillas,
I was going to say that's kind of the way
right?
it is. So yeah. And I think in the same way, pizza. If you don't put traditional Italian toppings on a pizza, is it a pizza?
I don't know.
Like, do people, whatever? If you like it, and you put it on a flatbread with sauce,
Right.
Then
Is it? Can you? I'm not going to say the word. Can you say the name of the white cheese that starts with an M?
man, wait.
Is it white? It looks white. M-O-Z.
Oh, you want me to say it with my finger?
Yes,
Okay.
I do want you to say it the correct way.
Mozzarella.
Do you say other things like that, like pepperoni or anything
No.
like that? How much of a stereotype is Mario and Luigi? Are they pretty bad? No, these are Super Mario Brothers.
I mean, I guess I see people who maybe look like them. So yeah, they did a good job making those guys look Italian.
Good. So back to Torchy's.
Okay, so Torchy's, I mean, if you like the food that's in it, then yeah, I like some of their stuff, but I don't consider them at all to be Mexican tacos.
Word, like Taco Bell, right?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Do you like Taco Deli?
I do.
I prefer Taco Deli to Torchy's.
I like their steak tacos.
Oh, all right, we're gonna do that. What about Chewy's?
I probably Chewy's about every 2 years.
Okay. When family comes down,
No.
you don't take them there.
No, my wife and daughter, they like Chewy's. It used to be like a first day of school thing that we would take
Oh,
her. Of course, I had marching band rehearsals.
of course, yeah.
And no, I think I get their Southwestern enchiladas
Sure.
whenever I get that.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Trudy's. Do you like Trudy's?
Rest in peace.
Oh, did they all close?
That's what I heard.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They should have charged more for the martini.
I did. I used to get the mixed plate in college. It kind of had everything.
The one on campus.
Yeah.
That one's closed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, college kids.
Yeah. And no, I liked it. I probably have not eaten at Trudy's in close to 20 years.
Wow. Well, that's probably the reason why they're shutting down.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's your fault. You have the power to make people's careers and end people's careers. So there we go. Yeah.
There's been so many, Austin establishments just closing, but we can, all these people, moving here is either a good thing or bad thing, depending on your opinion.
Or both. Yeah.
And then it's becoming less hippie, more hipster, it could be whatever your opinion, but then there's also a lot of really good food
there is
coming in. And so I think, there's just more good food. So then people are choosing that instead of the old places.
I agree. But you would say that Houston has significantly better food per capita than Austin, right?
That's, it's hard to say. I would say whenever I lived in Houston, absolutely. But that was
so
a long time ago. I would say now, I mean, it's hard to drive more than 2 miles in Austin and not find a great place to eat.
Sure. Yeah.
So I don't know. Austin may be, because it's not nearly as big.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, all right, I got you. When you did eat fast food, do you have a favorite fast food burger?
Whataburger.
Oh, yeah. What's your order of choice?
Depends on how gluttonous I want to be. Really. I mean,
back when I used to see, also you were a little heavier when I used to write for McNeil. So what would old Jason get at Whataburger?
Monterey Melt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
God.
It's like what's the highest calorie thing? Because they have to put those calories on it,
exactly.
It's like, fine, I'll do it.
And what do you eat now? Because you're very well. You're put together. You're taken care of now. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't go to Whataburger anymore.
I don't say I don't, but when I do, I don't get that.
Right.
I'll get like a number one with no cheese or something like that.
Oh yeah, because the cheese is what's.
And I get the grilled onions. I'm a grilled onion guy.
Oh, I'm not an onion fan, so whatever. Do you have favorite barbecue?
I would say probably Franklin.
Yeah, of course.
We just our staff, we have I guess this would have been our third year doing it. Where during spring break we would go to Franklin in the morning, and then we would go hit a couple of breweries around town in the afternoon.
Nice.
So we did that the last 2 years. Last year we were the first people in line.
Wow, I've never met somebody who was the first person in line.
It was I felt like a local celebrity. No, really. It was we got there like 6:45 a.m.
And you were first?
We were first, and the next people showed up at 6:46. Wow. Yeah, and so we were, and then they were filming. Franklin was having somebody. I don't know if they were filming a commercial or they were doing promo or something like that. But they had cameras everywhere, and we were first in line. Yeah, and we had we went straight, coffee to beer or whatever.
Of course, yes.
And we had our ice chests and our.
That's exciting. You are a local celebrity. You're the most famous person that's ever come into this podcast studio.
Yeah, I bet.
Wow.
So then yesterday would have been that day.
Would have been.
But,
rest in peace.
Right. But Chris McCarthy and we had decided we're going to go ahead and do this. But we went to Liberty Barbecue right there.
I saw the pictures. Thank you for the invite. Was that your house?
That is my. Okay. So but that was really. I've heard great things about it. It's right in downtown Round Rock.
Okay. All right. Well, I might have to look into that. Favorite fried chicken? Do you have one?
I love fried chicken. I'm the only one in my house who likes fried chicken.
No way.
And so like true fried chicken.
Sure.
And so I cannot really speak on that because I just go like I've been to Lucy's and it was okay.
Yeah, Lucy's is fine. Gus's? I
want to go to Gus's. I have not been to Gus's.
Wow, okay. Way to go. Jay. So basically it's like Golden Chick, Popeyes.
I haven't been a Golden Chick in probably 20 years.
Golden Chick.
I haven't been in a while Mark Kalima would always talk about Golden Chick.
Really? Yeah. Did they have those in Houston? I guess so, right?
Yeah, but whenever he was at Cedar Ridge.
Right, yes. Yes. Back when he was also a little heavier.
Yeah. He's looking great right now.
Yeah. Do you have favorite wings?
I do.
Yeah, go on.
If I want wings, I don't go to a wing establishment.
Oh my God. Okay.
I go to Brooklyn Heights Pizzeria at Parma and Navy Ranch.
Wow.
It's great. And if you get there for happy hour, half price wings.
Brooklyn what?
Brooklyn Heights Pizzeria.
Brooklyn Heights Pizzeria.
Wow. Parma and Navy Ranch.
Yes, I know exactly that area. I can picture where it's at. Oh, all right. I'm learning a lot about food from you.
My favorite is the sweet Thai chili.
Sweet Thai chili. Okay. Do you have a favorite vodka? You're not a vodka guy?
I'm not a vodka
guy. All right.
guy.
Do you have a favorite bourbon?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's like picking your favorite child.
Well, you only have one child, so it's not hard.
Other than the Pappy 15 I've had.
Because Joe Hobbs, he's like, well, one sipping, and well, do you have a favorite sipping bourbon then? Let's.
If I'm drinking bourbon, I don't mix it really.
It's just straight. With
with
a cube of ice or a oval of ice.
It depends on the bourbon. I may put one rock. I may put a splash of water. Oh. But I like. My favorite that I probably have, Jefferson Reserve is really, really good. Yeah.
Take your word for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And there's some good ryes that are great. Angel's Envy rye, can't beat that.
Okay, sure. Anyone who talks about bourbon, I suggest they talk to my wife.
And Blanton's is really good too.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's what I hear. I've told a story where my wife did a bourbon tasting, and they all tasted awful to me. So it's a waste on me.
I remember seeing her at Midwest and bringing up the Blanton thing, and she was just giving me crap for firing you. She said, maybe I would drink.
Right. We would have brought you a bottle of it.
Yeah. I was like, gosh.
Was this the first time you fired me?
No, this was just a couple years ago.
Oh, was it?
At Midwest.
You fired me so many times. It's hard. Do you drink iced tea? And if so, how do you take it? Sweet or unsweet?
I do drink iced tea. I like sweet tea. Some places are a little bit too sweet.
Agreed. Like any chicken place.
Right. Like Bush's, I do have.
Yeah. I'm 25% sweet at Bush's or like Chicken Express or that kind of thing. Like Rudy's iced tea?
I'm not familiar with Rudy's iced tea.
It's a barbecue place.
I'm familiar with Rudy's.
It's a gas station also and a convenience store. Yeah. How do you take your coffee?
It depends on the coffee.
Oh my God.
It does.
Do you drink coffee every morning?
Yeah.
All right. Do you still make it I know you have a new office. I'm surprised anyone knows about this unless you're friends with Mike Champagne. But you have a new office. So do you have a new coffee maker too, or do you take like the old one?
I don't have a coffee maker. I don't have a sink with a disposable.
You don't have a sink anymore in your office?
No, but that's okay because I have a little setup. So I just have to do pour overs and.
Oh, okay.
And I have a kettle there. Yeah. So yeah, but depending on the coffee, if I have like a lighter, like a Kona. 100% Kona or like a Colombian, I'll do it black. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, a little cream of sugar. Yeah.
You're like the most foodie person. I don't know what even to ask anymore. I feel like you're judging me for the questions I'm asking. Like, oh, these are so pedestrian. Ask me my favorite duck sauce or something like that. I guess we should talk a little bit about like actual music stuff, but it's so much. I like catching up with you. You're a good guy sometimes. So you started your career at what high school?
Westfield High School.
The Westfield High School.
The Westfield High School.
Now, how long did you teach at the Westfield High School?
1 year.
1 year. Now, I'm trying to remember the timeline here because we went over a long time ago. Were you married yet?
I was married. Yeah, I got married my last year in college.
And your wife was in Houston with you at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
She worked at the Shepherd School of Music.
Oh, geez.
She was in the office there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And so you were there for a year. What year was that?
That was 0203.
So again, setting up a program.
Yeah, I've said several times if you want something really great to happen, like just wait till I leave.
Now, did your wife get a job in the Austin area, or what was the reason for you leaving Westfield?
She got pregnant with our daughter.
Gotcha.
And she grew up in Austin.
Correct.
And so she wanted to be closer to family.
Okay. And so then you took a job at where?
San Marcos High School.
San Marcos High School. And how long were you in San Marcos?
1 year.
1 year?
1 year.
Gotcha. And then you made the move to the McNeil Mavericks.
Yeah, the plan was actually supposed to go from Westfield to McNeil, but the guy who I was going to replace ended up staying.
Gotcha.
Kind of late in the summer.
And was Travis Onsley still the head director at that time?
Yeah, So I guess after my year at Westfield is when Travis got the job
Sure.
at McNeil, and that's when, and so we knew each other from before, and so he was talking to me about going there.
Gotcha. Okay, so we were talking about this, and I'm curious about the differences in culture from a Westfield, because at the time, and you have to say at the time, they were they were, Phil Geiger was still there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so Westfield was still Westfield, the one that everyone knew nationally. And then you've gone to San Marcos, and then you got McNeil. What are some of the cultural differences between coming from a Spring ISD Westfield and now a Round Rock ISD McNeil at that time? Because McNeil is very different now, but.
I would say, the kids at Westfield, for longer than they had been alive, there had just been this culture of greatness there. And so from day one in sixth grade, they just had, it was just ingrained in them that they were going to be great. And then so I get here, and this is kind of before the, Austin happened.
It was like Westlake and Leander and Bowie, maybe, depending on. Yeah.
And there was, well, gosh, McNeil had gone through five head band directors in 5 years, so they were, I guess, an anomaly. But I just found that I've had to convince my kids that they are capable of being really, really good. And so, whereas the Westfield kids just, they were going to, if anything, just try to keep up the tradition of people who created the greatness before him.
Right. And at that time, Westfield was prepping for Grand Nationals, right? Did you know, had they dropped out of UIL? You had an inside, point of view from all that kind of thing.
Okay, let's see. How much do I say about that? Okay. So yeah, this was the fall of 2002, and
which was the infamous show, which I think is one of the sparks for why I arranged the way I arranged.
Really?
Because you had a rapper on the field.
Yeah, we did.
BOA 2K2.
Yes.
San Antonio.
Yeah, he was
bringing
band
to the
president.
Mike's tradition.
Yeah.
When you read between the lines, word something.
Yeah. You know who wrote those lyrics?
These tricks are for kids. That kid?
No.
Jody Rose. Mark Higginbotham.
Our guard director that year, Rick Subel.
That's right.
San Antonio, BOA. 2K2, you know I'm saying I bring you to the mic traditions. When you read between the lines, word, style, and trend, the strings are for kids. The world is locked to the bone, and we're freaking percussion. We send it trophy rhythms and rock. So get up high, break it till the break of time. In the time, we must allow to resurrect a funk, just as blues in a 1-6. The BOA in the mix. When the transformation is complete, we're rocking from the bars to the Jeep. And you know it ain't cheap, but when the effort goes fast, we watch this
I contend. I mean, obviously Westfield for the longest time was ahead of its time. Like they did a show that was 10 years ahead of its time because you could do that. I mean, I literally did that type of show with Guardians for drum corps. I was like, we're going to do Westfield 2002, but do it as much as we can do it differently. And I mean, I saw that show 3 times. So every time was a little bit different, right? Because like at one point the guard did something and then y'all turned the hats backwards.
Right, yeah.
But then it changed. And then at one point the guard chanted, "Don't stop, get it, get it." And that, I don't know if that made it or like, it went through so many incarnations. That was an awesome. Can we talk about that show for? I know we're
sure. As much as I remember,
this
that
is
was a long time
This is
ago.
why I like doing it live because then we can. Okay, so who went in and go like, "Hey, let's rap Hindemith"?
Okay, from what no, that happened before I got there because they were talking about that.
That would make sense.
Okay, but there was actually a graduated senior who wrote the whole hip hop section,
And that's what I had heard because I was teaching at Bowie, and the BOA forums was a big thing. It was the precursor to Texas bands, and we had one of those kids. His screen name was Horatio Rastapopoulos. And he said, they're doing a rap at Westfield, and a kid wrote it. Like, that was the extent of what I had known. So a former graduate of Westfield, like, he sketched out the whole movement, and then Mark Higginbotham just arranged it, or what?
You know, I don't know exactly how that went.
Okay.
As far, but I know, the kid wrote it. You know, he may have done like all the chords and everything. But
Wow.
So I don't know. You have to ask Philip about that.
Sure. I won't, but okay.
Okay. Maybe he'll be in a.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about tonal energy for now. I would really just talk about Westfield 2002 for an hour and a half.
Yeah. But with that show, and again, that was my first year teaching, and I stepped in, and it was a freaking machine going, man. I like the kids knew more than I did.
Big Red Rodeo Band, man.
Yeah.
Who were the directors there?
It was Phil Geiger and Chris Batchelor, and then me, and then Jason Hall was doing percussion, and Rick Subel was the guard director.
Right. Where was Jody Rhodes at the time?
She was an assistant band director at Bama Middle School.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. So you walked in, they're rapping everywhere, right?
Well, they weren't. We hadn't gotten to that part of the show. Yeah, it took a while. But I look back on that show. I liked it a lot because it took fantastic music and it just kind of took it all through time and all the different styles.
Absolutely.
And then when you look at the whole hip hop section, and when they created that wedge, and it was like the dance.
Yeah, the
thing.
B-boys out there, right? Did y'all end up using B-boys?
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
they did on the announcements, on the school announcements. You know, if you if you're a breakdancer and you're interested in being in the halftime show, then please go to the band hall after school.
Right.
And so there's this group of kids who did, and so they were not band kids.
Sure.
Obviously.
Right.
And so, but they thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and we thought it was cool. And so they made their own boards and everything, and then so they came to the contest and everything, and it was neat. It was neat.
Can you get inside the mind? And you said the decisions were made the spring before you got there, but I don't want to say what were they thinking. But in 2002, what were they thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I was a kid. I don't know. I was trying to just show up to work and make sure I wasn't messing things up.
Sure. Because that is, people think about Spring '93 and West, all these things, but that is one of the most groundbreaking marching band shows ever.
I'm glad to hear someone say that because that was a rough year.
I'm sure. I remember, rest in peace, with Bruce Dinkins at Bowie, and we're watching it, and you could tell on the expression on his face, like, what? But every kid, because we were at BOA Houston, I think, and every kid lost their minds the minute y'all started doing that. Like, I remember my percussionist kids standing up and just like, why are we not doing that? But I can imagine adults were like, why are they doing that?
Maybe it's because I was just so absorbed in I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I don't remember looking into the audience of any performance that year. I don't even remember any perspective of mine at a marching contest. But it was a rough year. It was like the first time ever that we did not make the state
Correct
marching contests. We were alternates.
Yeah.
To that, which was a huge deal.
Well, that was when I remember because Bowie went. Because they changed the areas up. And Bowie went in 2002, and it was a big deal.
Yeah, and I felt just really, really bad about that. Being as a part of the staff, that because you hate to see kids cry, but it was like after area, that was it. It's like they felt that they let down,
right? Yeah,
people before them, and so, but they were so good, all those kids. And then we didn't go to the state marching contest.
To watch.
Well, I guess the next week was the BOA San Antonio.
It's hard to remember.
I think so.
How it
Because I
worked.
think this is how it went. Because it was going to be just, if we had made state, it was going to be a hellish week. And so we did the BOA San Antonio, and we felt that was kind of a weekend of redemption for us because Carmel came down that year.
That's right.
And they won, and we came out fourth.
Because Elder was second. I forget who was third.
I don't know.
The nerds on Texas bands will.
But we came out fourth place, and to be the third highest ranked Texas band when we didn't even make state, I mean, that felt really good for the kids. And then we get back, and then state marching contest was like a couple days later, and we didn't make it, and that was when it rained.
Yes. The infamous.
Yes, in Waco.
Boy. And y'all had the most electronics in the world that year, which I'm going to ask you about in a minute.
Yeah, because it created a lot of stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So that would have been good for you anyway if you had gone to state.
You're right, but the whole time, like we were just dog tired, and so at school it's like everybody just lay down and take a nap. And meanwhile, we're just getting updates of, man, it's awful in Waco, and we're like, thank God we didn't make state.
Yeah. So that was also the year that y'all had the pit. The whole thing was like at a 45-degree angle onto the field, and at the time, maybe still currently, you couldn't have wires on the field. So there are these urban legends of Phil and Mark Higginbotham scouring Houston to buy up all of the wireless microphone setups. Is there any truth to that? Or that you remember or no?
I mean, I don't remember that, but that could have happened. What I remember is, I mean, there were wires on the field, but it was all I guess we looked at kind of the intent of the rule, so that it's a safety.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they had created a wall.
Yes, they did.
That had a mural on it designed by Yeager Lloyd.
Because he was still a student, right?
Yeah, he was.
Bassoon? No.
Yeah, bassoon.
Bassoon.
But beautiful. He's so talented. And so then we had this 80-foot wall that the front ensemble was just in front of, and then there was behind the wall were drum major podiums, and that's kind of what it said. So that's where like the soloists and the ensemble members would go up on, and so everything was all self-contained right there because all that we had this kind of sound cart just filled with car batteries. It had to weigh 800 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And so that was powering everything. So everything, and then we had speakers, we had stations, kind of four corners of the speakers, and they had power inverters in every one. So everything was contained right there. But yes, there were wires on the field. And so, but there, I guess other programs recently before that had been given the green light on having, it wasn't even having cords. It was having electronics on the field, like within the perimeters of the field. And so there were some who had been given wireless mics. And so it was just, I guess, the difference between an ant and a molehill. We had enough power on the field to light up a small city,
Right. Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's cool. Because and that was a really interesting era for Westfield. And, they did that Brain show, which was, again, ahead of its time. Maybe not as successful. I mean, they got like 10th, I think, at a regional, which was unheard of, but they were still, setting standards, breaking boundaries, so to speak. So you were there for the year where the decision was made to not compete in UIL in 2003, correct?
Yes.
Is there any part of that you remember that you could talk about? Because it was a big deal.
I mean, it wasn't my decision.
Right.
It was a big deal. I mean, I guess we went to in 2002. We went to a region marching contest, and we did our show as is. And then, like we were told, if someone did, like appeal, or if they did, then we would probably have to fine you in violation.
Oh.
And so we had to change everything.
Right.
So between region and area, we took the front ensemble off of the field, which changed listening environments. It just changed, and it just, anyway. So I don't know. You have to ask Philip. Maybe he was just, upset about it.
Sure.
And they did fine.
Yeah, they did, and then they came back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, Westfield's dropped out of UIL, so they can do whatever they want, so to speak, right? But you were just the third.
I wasn't there at that point. I wasn't there whenever they.
Sure, but were you there when they started designing the next year's show?
I was there, but I wasn't a part of the design team.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, it just dawned on me that for the first time that you were at Westfield in 2002. Like literally, there's a reason why I decided I want to mix Hindemith with all the Kanye West stuff at Guardians, because it was 2002 Westfield. So, all right. So then you went to San Marvelous,
Yes.
S&M, San Mucus. I went to Texas State, so I can talk about the town that way. What was your experience like there? You've gone from a nationally known program to a program that maybe isn't as successful.
Correct.
That's the best way to put it, I think.
We'll put it that way.
And you were the second director there?
Yes, I was the second director there with Charlie Munsell. And it, for me, again, I was young, and I was very ambitious. I think as many of us are whenever first getting into the field.
We're going to set the world on fire.
Yeah. And so to go from Westfield and then to at the same time watch the success that they're having, that year.
Yeah.
And to be at San Marcos, it was tough for me. It was just a culture shock.
Sure.
Number one, the band culture was so different. I thought San Marcos was something different. Like I thought it was the university and the outlet malls, and it's not.
Of course.
Yeah. And so, just wonderful families, really, really nice kids, wanted to be good. Just, I guess, just hadn't been led down that path for a long time.
Yeah.
And so it was tough to try to change that. There were just systemic things, I guess, within the campus that weren't conducive for total band success. So we had to change some of those things. We had to change the expectations of how the kids viewed band, and so it was a shock to their system. It was a shock to my system, but it ended up being I loved my year at San Marcos. I really do. They had such great kids, some great musicians that were in that band program, but I got to experience kids not knowing a lot of things and just being forced to just show them the very basic things of band, whereas, when I walked into Westfield, I was the one who knew the least in the room.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. We're going to take a pause in talking about serious stuff because we just got real.
Okay.
No. Hey, you introduced me to Morelia's Mexican Grill.
That's right. I remember that.
I still go to that restaurant.
Great.
I go to the one in Round Rock, though, because to me it's closer.
Okay.
It's on 35. Basically,
Well, that's where they moved their... not their original location, because they're from Elgin, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's right, because when you drive out to Houston, I'm like, why is there a big Morelia's out here? But that would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they had the one on 79. That was their second location.
Gotcha.
And then they exploded.
Yeah.
And then that place was too small, and then they moved into the place right there.
Gotcha. Their mole, I love their mole.
Yeah, it's great.
And they say everyone makes mole different, but that one was my favorite sort of like Mexican restaurant one. So, okay.
I have a favorite mole.
Do you? Where's it from?
Los Reyes. It used to be in Cedar Park, and now I want to say it's 183 Anderson Mill-ish, maybe McNeil.
Okay. All right.
It used to be this little hole in the wall in a shopping plaza, and I went in there one day. I was like light beams just coming.
Right.
Yeah, it was great. Oh. Yeah.
Do you know John Yu? Are you familiar with him? I feel like y'all would get along. Big food people. Yeah. Looking over your Facebook likes.
Here we go.
You like Van Doren music. Has he ever written for McNeil?
No.
Oh, that's weird. You like Aspenwood because Carol currently, I say currently because that's not incorrect to say, currently arranges for the McNeil band. MJM Works. Hey, that's Manny Maldonado. Has he ever written for McNeil?
He did our sound design.
Oh, that's a made up job. I got it. I'm just scrolling down, just looking over to see. I don't see anything for me.
I don't remember it coming up in a suggestion.
Well, I don't have a Facebook page for Montoya Music anymore.
Well, then I guess that explains it.
Does it? Does it really? Do you like Sketchbook? I haven't found Sketchbook Podcast on here.
No, but I listened to it.
Oh, what's your favorite episode so far?
Oh, that's a hard one. They are all really, really good. I do like them. I would say that the one that I learned the most was the Brad Kent one. I think that
one was great. And you know what's interesting? That's not getting as much play as I knew. I thought that was going to just blow up.
Especially the timing when it came out right around TMEA.
That's why we did it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Listen to the Brad Kent one.
Yes.
He's brilliant.
Yeah. Did you listen to both of them? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's funny that you and Mike Howard share similar opinions about the podcast. Whenever someone, because you mentioned it to someone, you go, it's actually really good. And Mike Howard's like, yeah, begrudgingly, it's good. It's like, yes, all right. Thank you for that backhanded compliment to both of you.
By the way, those are very calculated whenever I press send post.
He's like, he's going to see this. He's going to see this. Which is a better movie, Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison? I mean, some would say they're the same movie, but I mean, they're not.
I would not. I see them as totally different.
I agree.
I'm going to say Billy Madison.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I quote Happy Gilmore more. No, I think I quote Billy Madison. Oh,
they're both very.
Don't make me choose. Jason, why would you make me choose? Which Italian stereotype movie is your favorite? Godfather.
Oh my God.
Casino. Goodfellas.
The Godfather is the greatest movie of all time.
The original Godfather?
In fact, it's actually at home ready to watch. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I want to watch it with my daughter.
I was about to ask, is that your Star Wars? Some
Yeah,
people are like,
I'm not really.
I can't wait to watch Star Wars with my daughter.
Yeah, I really want to.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's the single greatest movie of all time, period.
Great. Where does the AFI put it? Probably like third or fourth? I mean, some people say the second one's better.
Some people, the things that I've seen, I guess the rankings that I've seen is Godfather number 1, and Godfather Part 2 in the top 10.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. I'm you're Italian. I've got my favorite Mexican movies, so whatever. I mean,
it's a movie about family.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I gotcha. So as a Cavalier alum, you this is a fun story. You may never remember this. But I don't know when Cavaliers were moving on from Saucedo, you said you emailed the director and recommended me. Do you remember that?
I think so. No,
lied to me.
No, I did.
Oh, but you forwarded me when he goes, "Thanks, we got it figured out."
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, because you asked me to do that.
I was like, "Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?"
Right. Yeah.
I may not be writing for that all male. Well, I'm not writing for an all male corps anymore. So, but that's fine. That's fine. If there's a DCI scene, it'll be great. It'll be great. So you've seen the Cavaliers. You set up the Cavaliers for their dominance, and then they fell on some rough times, and now they're back. So what do you think about the current state of the Cavaliers and their show designs and all that kind of stuff going on? Yeah,
I love it.
I agree.
I absolutely love it. I just find it's a certain kind of energy you don't get really from any other performance, and that probably has a lot to do with the all-male part of it. I love the way the brass are playing. I just love every part of it. Mm-hmm. I love the design. I think they're doing great.
I thought the ballad was awesome this past year.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I totally dug it. Yeah. So, do you have any rings that maybe people go like, Jason, this one's for you? Someone goes, because of you, or a medal or anything like that? No. No. What were your placements? Like 8, 6, 4?
7, 4, and then 3.
7, 4, 3. You were yeah. You did set up. You were that guy.
And I've talked to people because for those of us who put in those years, because a lot of us started in 97 and aged out in 99. We just kind of went through 98 and 99 thinking, gosh, we were just awful. Because I don't know, it was a new brass staff, and so we aged out. I mean, we were proud of what we did, but it was just rough. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't until years later that I talked to some of the old brass staff guys, and they were like, "Man, that 99 horn line, I don't think I've been more proud of any horn line other than that one." I'm like,
"Really?"
He said, "Y'all had no business being as good as y'all ended up." I was like, "Thanks." And now Richard Saucedo, he came to McNeil a couple weeks ago, and we were talking, and he agreed. He's like, "Yeah, that 99." He said that was just a really, really talented horn line. I was like, "Man, great." I mean, a lot coming from Richard.
Yeah, because he would know. He would know. When you look back at we're going to talk more about McNeil, but how many marching band shows have you done at McNeil? Like 14, 15?
This is my 16th year.
So you've done 16 marching band shows. And I would ask this of anybody, but you'll be the first one to ask. I'm not going to ask you your favorite show because but what are some moments and memories from shows of the last 16 years that you're always like, I'm always going to remember this thing. I'm always going to remember that thing.
I would say the Somnophobia show that you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not, which the first thing if someone goes, what do you remember the most? I'd say the Pink Bunny. Saturday morning overtures. That's to me the one moment in McNeil band history. That I'm always gonna remember.
Maybe I've just put that out of my mind. I don't know. Oh gosh.
The Pink Bunny. Anyway, that's my number one moment in McNeil. So you remember the Somnophobia show? I mean, we talked to Cool River about that show.
Yeah, we did. Oh my gosh, Cool River.
Cool River, man. We were young back then.
We were.
And Travis didn't have 5 kids.
6.
6. Oh my god. It was a different time. We were young men.
Yeah, I think that was 07 season we did.
Yeah, that was a setup year, wasn't it? No. Was 2010 the year?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right, because that was a year that you beat Spring and you beat Westfield and you beat
I don't like it. I don't like to put it that way.
Oh my god, the McNeil band placed higher than those programs.
We did.
And you were like, I can't believe that we've placed.
No,
higher than
I
these.
mean, and that was really cool for us. And I know a lot of students have experienced this, but we hadn't. And so we went to a BOA regional, and it was
it was Conroe, right?
It was it was that regional, and we felt really good about the show. It really was a great show. It was.
Jeff Sperling keeps talked about that.
Yeah,
he was like, these kids talk about that show. I was like, oh, okay. It was literally like what
10
years ago.
So, but so we go to Houston, and I can't remember when we performed in prelims, but it was.
And I was sitting next to y'all.
It was so hot.
It was awful hot that day.
And so we're there at the prelims announcement, and our name's never been called, and we don't know what to, we feel like we're in over our heads. Yeah, and so it's you and Jeanette and Ian and Travis and me right there, and this is how I recall it. So it's like we're characters on a sitcom or something like that. so Jeanette is. She's proud mama, and I'm doing math in my head. So I'm like,
that's right. Right.
I'm listening to the names called out, and I'm doing this.
They still did ratings back then, didn't they?
I don't know.
Because that's how you could start to figure out 12 people got ones.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Okay, the nerds would correct me, but 2010.
But
I don't remember.
You have your shoe-ins, right?
Yes.
And so then okay, they're taking 10. And this name's called out. This name's called out, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't have that on my list."
Right.
And then oh gosh, no, not. Now there's only 1 or 2 spots left. And and then all of a sudden, everyone around me, Jeanette, Travis, they start jumping up and down, and I'm like, "Oh, they called us!" I'm like, so that was neat. And then Travis did this. He did if someone he jumps up out of his seat, off the ground, and he doesn't yell, but you could hear him yelling inside, and then Jeanette just starts crying and everything. So it was really that
was the first time you ever made finals in a regional. Yeah.
That was only our second regional ever to go to.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten about it because you did Somnophobia once.
We did. Regional, we went to the Arlington.
That's right.
Regional with that. And did pretty well.
Well enough for first time out.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, anyway, so then in 2010, when we made finals, it was just I don't want to say we're happy to be here, but
right.
Whenever it came down to it, and so we had to do, we did the show, we performed in finals. And then, we were like, oh, our kids, they don't know what a retreat is. So we had to go in the parking lot and we had to teach them how to do a retreat.
Right. Yeah.
And so, gosh, that worked out, I guess. And then when they were doing the announcements, I was like, I just don't want to be called first. I don't. And then I think they called Westfield first. I think so. Yeah. And then they called Spring. I was like, oh gosh. Yeah. And then that was the very, very baby version of Claudia Taylor Johnson.
Yes.
And then they called us 7th, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. And of course, Jeremy stole our thunder because Vandergrift was the top. They came out 3rd, and they were a 1A band.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a wild year. That year, I remember that I remember talking to Spicer. We were at Paul Pape's house, and he goes, "How do you think State's going to come out? Area?" And I go, "I know you're going to think I'm a homer, but I think McNeil's going to do it." And he goes, "I think so too." And I was in Portugal, which is how many hours ahead, and I'm waiting. I think I'm trying to communicate with you overseas about how it's going, and it's 4 a.m, and then I find you make finals, and then it's oh.
Yeah. I mean, that was a cool day, and a lot of our students, at the end of their senior year at their banquet, they talk about their favorite memory in band, and a lot of them just talk about that,
right?
About actually getting to perform in area finals,
even
more than the BOA finals.
Because it was Area D, which has been good for a while now. And so, remember what year? How you came out? Were you an alternate that year?
No, we were 9th. Westwood was 10th. We were 9th.
That's right. I think, wasn't Round Rock an alternate? That was Round Rock hadn't become Round Rock yet.
I think they either were in or they were an alternate.
You were not the first Round Rock ISD band to make a BOA finals.
Yes, we
were
were.
you?
Yeah.
So that year, 2010, with the If I Only Had show, was the first time a Round Rock school ever made BOA finals.
Yes.
Wow. Did I know that at the time?
Maybe.
We know now. The nerds on Texas bands are verifying as we speak. Well, actually, if you consider blah, blah, blah. Wow. Okay. That wasn't the show you said was your favorite. Wow. Or not favorite. Do you have a favorite show from your last 15, 16 years? Or was it the one you just did?
No. I mean, honestly, that one, it probably rings most. Probably, I guess, just for what it did for the program. And I mean, it was very, very creatively done.
We were just kind of figuring it out as we went along.
Yeah,
I mean, I was teaching choreography.
Well, I remember being at my house whenever we were talking about designing the show, and so we kind of came up with that concept. But I'm gonna compliment Daniel real quick.
Oh boy,
Oh, God. No, but
that never happens on the podcast.
But I've never listened to music where you swear you're listening to this piece of music, but you're actually listening to an entirely different piece of music.
Oh, that's right. Because we took the If I Only Had a Brain.
Yeah.
And what was the opener? Was like John Adams?
Yeah, it was a Short Ride to Fast Machine. And like what you did with the Hemiola section there, it was If I Only Had a Brain.
That's right.
And then the Nessun Dorma, you swear, I mean, harmonically it's Nessun Dorma.
Yeah. I forgot it.
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot. Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Boy, why'd you fire me? So you're at McNeil now. You were an assistant for how long?
11 years.
11 years, and you've just, well, I mean, we're going to say it. You've just finished what year as a head director at McNeil?
I'm in my 5th year.
You're in your 5th year, which who knows if we're going back to school. I mean, they canceled STAR testing. That should tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're trying to figure things out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so you were 11 years as the assistant, right? But you started running the marching band at what point?
Oh, I don't know. There was a time I remember because I did a lot of the instruction of marching fundamentals, and my role just I guess increased a lot. And there was a point I can't remember the year that Travis just said, "Hey, you want to just be the marching band director?" I was like, "Okay."
Right.
Yeah.
Because Travis marched cadets.
Yes.
So at some point he was current, right? And then at some point you were current.
Oh, yeah.
And then now your
I'm
assistant
not.
is current,
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah.
So you made that switch when you became the head director, right? Like at that point, you're like, I'm just going to...
I knew that the direction I wanted the program to go, I was going to need someone to run the marching band because I was going to have to just focus on, I guess, bigger picture things, a lot of it. Which I think is pretty standard for most programs. I mean, we don't have the staffing that other places do. But my first associate director was Ronnie Pruitt.
Correct.
Yeah. And he was so integral to it. I don't know what I would have done without Ronnie.
How long was he there?
1 year.
1 year. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And then I leaned on him a lot on whenever he told me he was leaving, on who we should get, and he recommended Josh.
Because they worked together at Blue Knights,
Yes.
right, at the time?
Yeah. And Josh is a graduate of Connolly High School.
Correct.
And Ronnie taught at Connolly.
Which is right around the corner.
Around his time, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Now, McNeil currently has how many bands?
We have 4 bands.
4 bands. So they all go to UAL, or would they?
Yeah.
All go to UAL. Does Mike Champagne, the percussionist, do a band?
Yes.
Because
we don't have a percussion director.
I was going to say, because even when Ian was there, Ian Smith, who's now at Belton High School, I mean, he had to take a band to UIL. Like it was rare for a Round Rock ISD to have just a percussion person. Because I think Sarah Santa Cruz, when she was at Westwood, and now Mikey Sheeran, they don't do bands at Westwood, correct?
Right. And then
Steve Rader used to do a band.
He used to, but he hasn't for a long time.
Does Rick does it used to or
I think he used to do a band.
Used to do a band at Cedar Ridge. And then who's the Stony Point percussionist? Is it still Matt Green?
Matt Green's still on
Matt
staff.
Green,
Yeah.
he's been there like 45 years.
He's been there since the school opened.
Does he do a band?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't think so.
So you're in a situation that is not the same as Vandergrift or Vista Ridge or any Leander school, basically. Like your percussion guy does a band.
Correct.
You haven't taught outside of Round Rock ISD, but you
In a
see, yes, but you see what the Leander ISDs, the Pflugerville ISDs, the Austin ISDs. Are there anything that is unique to Round Rock that maybe a lot of people are looking and go like, Cedar Ridge made finals at Grand Nationals, Round Rock's made finals at Grand Nationals, Westwood's gone, like, are there any instances like hey, there are some misconceptions about what we do in Round Rock.
I mean, I think so. Again, I just know my perspective. McNeil's in I guess it's in a unique situation of where we're located. The size of our program, for a long time, our main feeder was a double C school, so we just weren't really getting a lot of.
And that was Deer
kids.
Park, right?
Yeah, with Deer Park, and our boundaries have changed quite a bit within our attendance zone, and we've never had more than 3 directors.
Right.
I can just say that if I had a 4th director, that could lighten the load a lot.
Now, does Cedar Ridge have 4 directors?
Yes.
Westwood 4 directors?
Yes.
Round Rock 4 directors?
Yes.
So you and Stony Point are the only ones with 3 directors?
Yes.
Did I miss any other high schools? Is that it?
No, that's it.
That's
For
all
now.
the Round Rock, from the Round Rock high schools.
Yeah.
For now. That's right, because I feel like when I was still writing, you were like, they're building a new one. And that just it's been taking forever, right?
It has not passed a bond yet.
Wow. We've talked about that. Yeah, It's been a long time. Now, for those who don't know, McNeil is on Palmer Lane. It is located in...
It's on McNeil Drive, about a half a mile.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's in Austin, Texas.
It is.
It is very close to the Apple campus and is really, really close to the new Apple campus.
The
that's
new
being
Apple
built.
campus will be our next door neighbor.
That's right. So continue about Round Rock ISD. So if you had 4 directors, the load would be lighter.
Yeah,
It would be easier.
I think just on the surface, look how many kids they have. Yeah, but there's a lot more than just teaching, for that 90 minutes. Plus, we take 4 bands to contest.
Right.
We just feel like it's best. We don't have like those. We basically have 2 third bands.
Oh,
They meet at the same time. We take our third band.
How did you do that in the old band hall? The old facilities?
We would use the orchestra room for one.
Okay.
And so it's just best for us to split, instead of having like a 65 or 70 member band, we have 2 smaller bands.
Yeah.
It's better educationally. And so each individual musician or for their growth, we just feel like that's better.
Now, do you do one of those or does Josh do it?
Josh does it.
Oh, so-
and he's so good with
So
those
Josh
bands.
and Mike do
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
3rd and 4th bands. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I'll be out there in rehearsals or whatever.
Sure,
but,
of course.
But yeah, we have 4 bands. Another. I'm not like lobbying for 4th director. I'll take one.
Are you listening, Nolan? Yeah, good.
But there's so many other responsibilities. So if someone is sick and we have 3 directors, there's so much that just has to just stop. Like we, going to middle school is just kind of out of the question. And just all the other responsibilities and everything. Because Mike teaches a beginning percussion class
Right.
at Deer Park every single day.
Yeah. So he has to do all that. So if you're friends with Mike Champagne, you know this. McNeil finally got new facilities. When were you supposed to open the new facilities originally?
Oh, originally?
Yeah.
Because there's been like 8 iterations of this.
Correct.
I want to say it was originally supposed to be done. I want to say our senior class, their freshman year.
Okay, so 4 years ago. It was supposed
Well, about 2.5, 3 years ago.
okay. And then they found caves, basically, right?
I think they discovered it's no secret that there's caves, in that area. They discovered, I think, 19 new caves.
Oh, good.
But I don't think the caves were the issue. I mean, it was a confluence of just so many different reasons for a delay, and I say it's worth the wait. But there was environmental stuff.
Of course.
There was, I guess, budgetary stuff. There
Right.
was governmental.
I was going to say,
delays.
does being in Austin and being in Round Rock ISD, is that issue?
I don't know that that's the issue. The front of the school is in Travis County. The back of the school is in Williamson County.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
It's like I said. It's just this weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who did they think about that when they built the school?
The land was donated.
Gotcha. From John J. McNeil.
No.
Oh.
There was a town of McNeil out there.
Oh, Victor
Yeah.
McNeil. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No, the Robinson family who owns all that land that just sold to Apple.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And so they donated the land
I
to
see.
Round Rock ISD.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So that makes sense. Your old marching band field, what were there was something unique about it. I forget.
Something unique about our old marching band
Yeah.
field.
Like, I can't remember. It was like only 70 yards or
Oh,
something?
it was 90 yards.
So you had to stop at the 10s, right?
5s.
5s. Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So Pete did used to write drill outside of it. And you would
Yeah. I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you.
And do you have a full-size marching band field now?
We do.
Oh, okay.
We have end zone to end zone and sideline to sideline.
But nothing else. So is the pit on the field or what?
Okay. There is a pavement that is for the front ensemble, but it is only on side one.
Oh, wow. So
because of the environmental
correct
stuff,
yeah,
putting something where we would like it in the center is not an option.
So is your tower like right on top, or
no?
Is it far
no,
enough
it
away?
is it's about a 30 feet away.
Okay, so it's not like the current. Your old one was like literally right on top of the marching band field.
No, I mean everything that they're doing with great quality. That's good. They really are. But we're just not going to be able to get that area, so we're just going to have to design that way from now on.
Sure.
So we didn't know that wasn't going to be the case whenever we first started designing.
So you haven't actually rehersed there yet.
Oh no, we've done 2 seasons.
The field was ready. Just
the field was ready.
The facilities were not.
Correct.
Until over the break, basically.
Until January. Yeah.
So you haven't even got to experience a full semester in the new facilities.
No.
Have you even unpacked everything yet?
No.
Oh man, well you're not going to get to now. Well, I mean, you might. I don't know. Who knows? What are you doing to keep busy in this time of Corona, Jason?
That's a tough one.
Is this officially spring break?
We are
still?
on spring break.
Okay, so you were going to have this week off no matter what.
I guess. I mean, we have booster meetings and stuff and conversations
mulch.
and we already did the mulch.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but then now like our staff, we did a conference call yesterday on try and create any plan of what
Proper
we're going to do.
social distancing. Good.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans you can share, or just ideas? Because I'm sure everyone who's listening is in the same boat.
Honestly, I'm learning. I'm gonna watch Jarrett Littman's rehearsal through Zoom tomorrow morning.
Oh, is he doing stuff right now?
Yeah, he posted yesterday about if you want to jump in on it.
Are they in session?
No,
week?
he's doing it through Zoom.
What? He's going to try and do a rehearsal.
Yeah, apparently he's been doing sectionals and everything. But yeah.
Wow.
So I really want to.
Yeah, I wonder how they deal with the latency and all that other stuff.
That's really what I want to find out.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So call me a pessimist.
Okay, you're a pessimist.
Yeah, thank you. There's no way y'all can have rehearsal. Like I as a composer, humble brag, who's done Skype sessions, the quality is awful.
I know.
The latency is bad. The communication, I can imagine the frustration of you going like, all right, everyone pull out your horns, let's do concert. I mean, how are you going to do that around the room?
I know. The way that I guess realistically seeing it is it's going to be a lot of just individual accountability,
sure.
Turning in videos and maybe you could do small stuff. You could do like masterclass stuff where you're playing for each other. And,
yeah, I would agree with that.
But if there's any kind of way that we can rehearse in groups, then man, I want to figure it out.
Do you think UAL is going to be canceled? I mean, I know it is already for a certain time period, but the fact that the UIL release said sports and academic scheduling is going to come first.
I think that whenever we get back in session, the whole schedule is going to have to be redone with everything. And so whatever we have scheduled now is going to, if possible, just be rescheduled. And that's my hope, is that it doesn't get canceled, that we can still fit it in. Because I want my students to, because we're doing a great program this year, and I just want them to go through the process and feel that accomplishment, and just because this is the hardest program we've done.
Well, what is your program? We'll say is
we're doing Gumsuckers March.
Okay.
Southern Harmony.
Oh, all right. There we go.
And the Overture to School for Scandal.
All right. Yeah, you're swinging for the fences, because this would be a 6A honor band year.
Correct.
And I say would be because, call me a pessimist, we're not having honor bands perform at TMEA next year. Unless they let you record in the fall or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
How would you describe your outlook on life? A realist? Anarchist?
No.
What book should I be reading, Jason? Here's the thing. Anyone who thinks, this is my opinion, I don't even really watch Joe Rogan, so I'm going to assume this is the kind of stuff he says, which I don't know.
I don't know.
He does it's like the number one rated podcast. Yeah. If we think that this thing is going to be solved and over with in a few weeks, we're greatly I don't think we're going to catch up until the end of the 2021 school year.
Wow.
Because who knows, right?
Right.
As of this moment, and I have no insider information, DCI is still going on. It's going to be, as they say, shortened. I think they're going to start it later. I have no inside information. Don't quote me on this. And by the time this releases, for all we know, either the virus is done or DCI is screwed or something. I don't know. But if you have all these things in the spring that are going to be delayed into possibly the summer, If there's no summer school, then that offsets kids. Like, I think we're still going to have school in the fall. I still think we're going to have marching band and all that stuff, but I just can't imagine that the world will be able to catch up for at least a year. But I don't know. And we're talking about band.
Right. I mean, and you're probably right. And just for what we've experienced in the last week, a decision made on Thursday seems so naive on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can just watch press conferences from a week ago from what certain people were saying. It's like, we knew better, but it's just like, oh, okay. You've directly contradicted what you said a week ago. But it's crazy. It's crazy to me. And I was just talking to my brother, who is a director at a 6A high school, and he says the ripple effect financially for kids that have to pay for band. Not all band kids pay dues. I think a lot of them do, but not a lot of them pay as much as we think, and some pay way more. What's that going to be like?
And honestly, that's the part of that I'm struggling with the most, because right now is when we're planning for next year.
Right.
And so I don't know, especially with a lot of our families, like if they're not making any money right now, and who knows how much longer this is going to be like this. What can we realistically expect?
Yeah.
And then just with any fundraisers, are people going to have any extra cash? Are companies going to be able to help out? I mean, we just don't know. So planning for next year, honestly, is a little bit scary right now.
So it's really weird and interesting, because these are people's senior years, right? Senior years in high school, senior years in college. We have people prepping for graduation, prepping for college. We have kids student teaching. What is that life like right now for both of those types of kids? I
guess we're gonna find out a lot coming up. And I think I read something where just recently that TEA, they've I guess they're exempting, I guess, all of the state requirements and everything for seniors to graduate. So as far as like all the testing and everything, so
the STAR's done, right?
Yeah. But then there's some seniors who haven't passed a STAR, and so they're waiving all of that.
Wow.
So then now I think it's going to be up to locally on those requirements on the district and schools to say whether or not seniors can graduate. But unfortunately for like our seniors, they don't get to finish kind of what we've done. I feel bad, especially for our senior class, just because they've just dealt with all the struggles of construction, and we finally get into the new facility.
Right.
And then now, like, I don't know.
Is this your first graduating class as a head director?
No, this is my 5th year. So I've had,
Okay.
and I had all those kids, for a long time.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But I just, and these kids, I wonder what universities are going to be looking at, so I understand the TEA has done their thing, but then getting into college or whatever, if they haven't yet, what does that look like? And then there's the public school part of it. There's the private school part of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. So everybody's they're going to need people paying tuition. So I don't know if they're going to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All of that's, like everything, is just totally up in the air. But for us, I think, with our senior class, they don't get that closure that everybody else does of, and actually going to see their friends every day and just getting the full high school and high school band experience. Now, the student teachers, I expect them to be able, just like with high school, to get their credits waived that way. However, the experience of doing the student teaching is actually the most important part of it. So I guess time will tell if there's going to be any, if they're going to get an extension, if they're going to, I don't even know what that looks like. That's pretty crazy, because we were supposed to have a student teacher from UT come right after spring break. So she hasn't done any of her high school stuff.
God.
Yeah. And so I feel really bad for all the kids in that position. Cause I have former students from McNeil who are doing their student teaching right now. I have one, Kate Thane. She's awesome.
Yeah.
So she was supposed to be at Leander with Robert.
Oh. Who will be coming on the podcast tomorrow?
That's fantastic.
Tomorrow for us.
In real world.
In our life.
Yeah. But for any of you people looking to hire, Kate Thane's amazing. Trumpet player, Blue Coat section leader. She was a superstar.
Would you say that you also made her career, Jason? She did come from the McNeil band.
I'm not going to say I made her career. I think I've been a good influence.
What shows McNeil band did she march?
Oh my gosh, I forget. If it's more than last year, I can't remember the.
We're just going to assume
awful
all
at that.
4 years were Montoya Weber productions. Let's just assume that.
Maybe.
Or at least a Montoya production.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. So you mentioned the dynamic of learning as a student teacher. Where did you student teach? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. I student taught at Keeling Junior High and LBJ High School.
Oh, here in Austin. Now, was Travis at LBJ at the time?
Travis was, yeah.
So it was Don Haynes.
It was Don Haynes.
Travis Onselay.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who taught percussion at the time. Did they have a percussion teacher back then?
They didn't have like a full-time.
Was it a UT guy like Damon Talley or something like that?
Well, no. I mean, Damon had just left. I was BJ Allen was there.
It's been a while. But you had an opportunity to study with what I consider one of the like Mount Rushmore of non-active band directors, Phil Geiger, right? And so your first job is at what we consider to be one of the greatest programs in history. What was it like to have a master teacher be there and work with him and ideally learn from him?
It was invaluable, actually. I was so green, like
Eddie Green?
No. I walked in knowing, I guess, what I knew, but then I step into a rehearsal or a discussion with Philip, and I realize, oh gosh, I know nothing. And so he was really good about kind of. He understood where I was, and so he just helped me out a lot, whether it was outside of rehearsal or inside of rehearsal. So let's say we were working with his band or even the Woodwinds, and so he'd have the Met going, and they'd be playing fundamentals, and then he would just walk around and point at kids and look at their posture, look at their embouchure, things to notice, and then he would help me. I remember looking at a score as I was preparing for UIL, and then he'd be like, "Okay, what do you see by looking at the score?" And it just looked like Greek to me. I was like, "I don't know," because I didn't have the experience of, I see these tendencies. This might be a trap, and so he helped me with that. We looked at the PML. What do you know about these pieces? And so he would train me with that. So he was really good. And then whenever he was working with his band, and those kids were phenomenal. He would have them playing, and then he would just kind of test my ears of what I heard. Of course, and all those young teachers, their ears. It's really, really hard to decipher the stuff. But I feel like my ears are pretty good, and I attribute a lot of that to Philip showing me where my ears should go. And so he would just say, "Well, do you hear this? Listen to this, listen to this." I was like, "Oh my gosh, wow!" Right. So I think his ears are probably the best that I've ever seen.
Wow. So he was. How many years had he been teaching at that point? I mean, it was.
He?
Yeah.
I'm not positive. It was in the 20s something.
So many people attribute him to sort of revolutionizing at least marching band in Texas. That's for sure. Kind of going like, "Hey, what if we use electronics?" Or what if we did this? So you're a new teacher. He's a veteran teacher. I guess, how was his patience for dealing with somebody green, like you say, of you?
I mean, I'm looking back. I considered myself at times still a student teacher. And so I probably responded to things that way. And,
sure.
And that probably frustrated him, because the last thing, whenever you're running a program like that, you need is like another student to take care of.
Right.
And so
right.
I learned pretty quickly. Like, oh yeah, I have a contract. I'm a director. This is my responsibility too.
Sure.
So there was a learning curve for me.
Right.
So but he would express to me, he's like, "I understand. You're a first year teacher, and I haven't had one in a long time." And he would say, "You're doing a really good job." And so to hear Phil Geiger say that just meant a lot.
Did Mark Kalima fill your job when you left?
So we can talk about Mark Kalima all day.
We don't have enough time for that one. We have enough tape, I think. So
So Mark Kalima, okay, at the time, so he had already finished his chemistry degree at UT, which
we forget all those things. Yeah.
So, and we were in band at UT together. We did not know each other. I did not like him. I did at all. I thought he was annoying. And we talk about this all the time.
Because he was just loud?
He was just very loud.
Mark Kalima loud?
The way that he played, the way that he acted, the way that he laughed.
He's a horn player, right?
He's a horn player, yeah. And he sat right in front of me.
The way he laughed?
Yeah, because he would just play so flipping loud, and then he would do that laugh, and I was like, who is this guy?
Anybody who knows Mark Klima could instantly
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
what that looks like and sounds
Right.
like.
So then I was never friends with him. I never hung out with him. I had seen him, and then like a few years later, I'm at Westfield, and then who is like the head marching tech is Mark Klima, because he was getting his music degree
At the age?
UH. Yeah,
Boy.
And so he is one of the greatest teachers I've ever seen. I learned so much, me being the director, him being a tech, by watching him teach. And so we became really good friends then, because we were, a year apart in
Sure.
age
Yeah.
or so. He may be a few years younger than me, but we became great friends, and we're still great friends.
And so when did he take over? When did he maybe a real director?
Okay, so
at
then
Westfield?
he actually, his first job was at Bamwell Middle School,
Right.
and
okay.
then a couple years later he came over to
Did he
Westfield.
follow Jody up to Westfield? I don't remember the math.
I know
on
he
that.
worked with Jody.
Yeah. Mark Klima, another person who said, "Hey, Daniel, when I become a head director, will you write my music?" And I go, "Yes." In the first year, he bought an old Higgy show, because that's what he did at Westfield. And then me, him, and Rick and Ryan Britton went out to dinner at Saltgrass to talk about writing the show. Next thing I know, he hired Ryan George. So anyway, I always go, "Hey, remember it?" He goes, "I commissioned you at Midwest." I was like, "All right, I guess we're kind of equal." I don't know, whatever. Just another Round Rock person pulling my chain. That's how it goes. You haven't really made it until you fired.
There was a
Daniel
time
Montoya
when
Jr.
you kind of had the whole district, though.
I had Stony Point, I had Westwood, had McNeil.
Yeah.
I didn't, and Cedar Ridge didn't exist.
You're right. There were only 4. You had 3 of the 4.
Yeah. One day, maybe I'll get the 4th one. Yeah, well, we'll see. Doesn't matter. Hey, so Jason, for the folks listening to us at home and nowhere else because they are smart and are socially isolating, please describe in excruciating detail what shoes you are wearing.
I am wearing Birkenstock sandals. It is spring break, and
It feels like spring.
and so it's just whatever at this point. No, these are I think they're Arizona. Is the model or whatever you would say the
okay,
design?
sure, yeah.
Navy blue, double strap.
Oh, like a monk strap?
Yeah.
A monk strap Birkenstock?
Yeah. And so these are size 43 because I got them in Germany last summer.
That's European sizing,
Yes.
right? Oh, 43, which is what, a 10 or 9.5 in US?
I don't know that they really did the half size.
I think it might be a 10.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I think I wear 42 and a third is what it translates to. Are you wearing socks with your Birkenstocks, Jason?
I am not.
You are not. Did you ever do that?
I have.
Do you remember growing up in middle school wearing socks with sandals?
And yes.
Damian Gonzalez, who name checks all the time on this podcast, made fun of me because there's a picture of me being in middle school wearing socks with my Nike sandals.
Right. I remember whenever it was a faux pas, and it's like, but people did it and people made fun of it. Now, it's my daughter's like, it's whatever. I'm like,
All rules are off, man.
I know.
It's crazy. It's awesome. So I ask this question from time to time, and you as an experienced teacher now, as a veteran, as a bristled
That's scary.
old man, is there a performer, composer, teacher, educator, etc. out there that we should be listening to? Maybe someone that's not blown up, maybe someone that has, maybe someone local, etc. Someone on the low key, on the download that we need to know about.
okay. I think my guard director,
Christopher McCarthy. From the Center of the Universe.
He's Center of the Universe, Binghamton, New York. He's been with us this is his 7th year with us.
Okay. Wow.
And so, he was so young when he was in his early
So you're calling
20s.
him old.
So he's barely 30, 31, I think, right now.
What was that like?
Yeah. And
I was still writing for the McNeil band when I was 30.
yeah. And so, our guard program was good.
Yeah, Jeanette left them in good shape.
And then he came in, and he just has this great teaching philosophy, great culture. There's no drama in the guard program. Can you believe that?
That doesn't make wait. I've never heard the words
Yeah.
"no drama" in color guard.
I know,
unless it's no more drama, color guard, please.
No, it's great. And so the kids, they're encouraged to just keep pushing themselves and learn new skills, and it's a great atmosphere. And so his success, I think, teaching has gotten some attention for him, and so he's been asked to design shows, a lot of shows in the Austin area, Winter Guard shows, and some around the country. And so I think he's going to take off pretty soon.
And he is the co-founder, co-director of Origins Color Guard.
Yeah.
With Jeffrey Sperling, who
Correct.
is also on your design team.
Yep.
Chris is just the color guard choreographer for y'all and teacher?
He's our color guard director.
Color guard director.
He's a guard director, and then he will be our drill writer.
Oh, he will be writing drill for the McNeil. And now, does he know that his career is about to blow up because he's designing for the McNeil band?
He needs to prepare for it.
Prepare for a Division I drum corps, because that's what happens whenever you write for the McNeil band. You know, that Carol Chambers might actually blow up and do something.
She might become successful.
Hopefully people know Carol Chambers after working for the McNeil band. So we'll touch on this very, very softly here. Chris is your color guard director. McNeil has achieved a great deal of success the last 2 years, right? I think 2 years, it just kind of like, I remember texting you like, oh my God, like something's going to happen here. Where are y'all scheduled to go to Dayton this year?
Yes.
What was that like for you and Chris? Because I'm sure you and Chris had to have the conversations before talking to the kids. And then finally it came down and you have to tell the kids and they're about to do really, really good probably.
I mean, we didn't really have to have we didn't have time to have conversations, because the way that the word was coming out, the kids were going to, Chris wanted to make sure that he told them before. Yeah. And so the announcement kind of came in the middle of their class period from WGI. And so telling them, especially because this senior class, I mean, this was supposed to be our third year in a row to go, and they're going to, I think, do well again.
Because you're fourth and fourth.
Yeah,
right?
Fourth
in finals.
Yes, and so these seniors are the ones who had that experience, and they were the ones leading the group now, and so it was just heartbreaking because that was before the world changed as much as it has, and so that was kind of one of the first things to go was WGI.
It was like NBA and WGI within 24 hours.
Yeah,
and crazy.
And so within minutes, Cliff was with me, and so so he checks his phone. We're on the way from the airport, and he checks his phone and finds out about the NCAA stuff. And then a few minutes later, I find out about WGI, and I'm like, oh gosh. So just the next couple of days, because then they found out WGI canceled they canceled everything, and then TCGC canceled. And so these kids, all of a sudden, their season was over.
Yeah.
And they've been working so hard, and they were wanting to do great things. And so it was just really hard to see how kids were upset.
Sure.
And just, you don't know how to console them except for I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. Can you, you don't need to name names if you want to. Now, do you have a quote unquote program coordinator for your show?
Yes. Jeffrey Sperling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have a music arranger, a drill designer, color guard choreographer, who is also your color guard teacher, right? Or do you have a different choreographer?
He's also our drill writer this year.
Oh, okay. Who's the drill writer? Oh, you can't mention it?
Chris McCarthy.
Oh, Chris is writing the drill.
Yeah.
You had been using Jamie Thompson.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris is going to write drill. He's also going to do that. I understand being in the activity, so I make my living marching band arranging, all that kind of stuff. I have said before this whole thing broke that we are living in a .com type bubble of marching band. That if you don't remember the .com, basically people were investing in companies that didn't have actual worth, but they were just investing, and everyone was spending money like crazy. It was like the 80s. And then people realized, wait a minute, you're not as worth, you don't have anything. And the .com bubble burst. All these companies went away. I feel like marching band's at that right now, or was, because we're paying so many people to do so much for marching band that didn't exist when you were at Westfield. Heck, it didn't exist when we were at McNeil together. It didn't exist 5 years ago. You have these program designers, program coordinators, sound engineer, sound designer, whatever. And now we're hitting a point where you may, as a band director, have to make decisions about what is going to be expendable or not expendable. Because when we think about when it was you and Travis and me and Jeanette, like Pete wrote the drill, I wrote the music, and that was it, right? Ian wrote the book.
Yeah.
Jeanette wrote the choreography. Y'all kind of did. And it's so different now.
It is.
And this virus thing is changing the whole world, basically. So you just talked about sort of the ripple effect of your community. Like, it would seem to me, it would be hard to justify telling your kids, we're going to pay, I'm not saying you did this to Jeff, $40,000 for a program coordinator, or we're going to pay $25,000 for a drill writer. Like, those are the decisions that every band director is going to have to make right? I mean, and I don't want you don't have to say like, yeah, we're going to fire. That's what, but that's the reality that I think marching band people who aren't at the highest levels, because the reality is there are more programs like McNeil, there are more programs like San Marcos, like Stony Point, than there are the Vandergriffs and Taylor Johnson.
Right. And I guess where we are, we don't have that huge staff that a lot of programs do.
Sure.
So I guess there's less for us to get rid of.
Yeah. You can look up these things, and people pay people to do these things. But there was a time, if you remember, when the band directors like, okay, we'll do this and we'll do this. And you may not have written the music or the drill, but you coordinated.
Right. Exactly. But I think that's a huge part of the explosion of success.
Agreed. Because you mentioned it earlier, Austin wasn't Austin.
Right.
Back then.
Right. And I guess you could maybe tie it to the economic boom of Austin.
Sure.
And, just the establishment of people wanting their band programs to be good in the Austin area. Right. And so you have all that going on at the same time. And then you get this influx of amazing teachers to come in. And then they've created this monster.
Right. It is a monster.
It is. And so, I mean, I don't know where we're going with that.
Is marching band gotten too big?
Too big? I would say it's a lot more difficult for programs who don't have all of those resources to even be in the conversation.
I would agree. Like, you haven't gone to BOA San Antonio since when?
Actually, no. We've gone. We just haven't competed well at all. But I'd say that the last two bands have been some of our best bands.
Right. Yeah. And so let me ask you this question then. And if it's an uncomfortable question to ask, I apologize. So do you go in with the expectation of making finals when you go to BOA San Antonio? No. Do you think that BOA San Antonio is unmanageable for other than 20 bands? Maybe unmanageable is the wrong word to use, but unless you're one of 20, maybe even 25 bands.
And I learned this from Gino Cipriani. It depends on your expectations going in. Right. If you're going in there with thinking that you're going to make finals, then you better be in a certain place and doing certain things. But like a program like us, that's not why we do it. It's not like. So I mean, we don't talk about that with our kids. Right. We talk about being on the big stage. Yeah. And so we did not place very well the last 2 years. And whenever we got back on the buses and or they found out their results, there was no disappointment because we didn't have that expectation.
Gotcha. Now, I'm curious about the finances because you're an Austin area band. I mean, you're in Austin. So more than likely you compete on Fridays, correct?
Yes.
And so you have to budget for driving down to San Antonio, driving back, and then maybe go to a football game, right? And then you have to drive back on Saturday to hear results for you may or may not make finals. And when you heard you didn't make finals, do you stay to watch finals or do you come back?
I'll say this, what we've done now, and I hope we get to continue this, is we created a new event on Saturday.
Is this the Remo Cup?
No. No, we created a community event. And so I knew we weren't going to make finals. I didn't want to spend the thousands of dollars to go play the charade of going down there and just listening. And then because if you want to watch finals, you have to pay $11 per kid to watch.
Is it $11?
Well, it's I think $5 for Music for All, and then the Alamo Dome charges a $6 fee for every ticket. So it would cost us thousands of dollars just to get them in. Yeah. And I'm like, it's just not worth it.
Correct.
So we created a community event where we celebrated just the McNeil band. Oh. And so we did it at Dragon Stadium in Round Rock. And it was without the pressures of a contest, without the time constraints of a halftime, without the distractions of everything. It was just everyone's here just to celebrate these kids. And then we had about an hour-long rehearsal beforehand. It was the only time, and plus, all the parents who do the pit crew and are helping with everything, they never get to see the show.
That's right.
So that's one major reason why we wanted to do it too. We wanted to let those parents.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they got to go up there, and then it was really special. And we told the kids, this is the last time you're going to get to do this show ever. Right. And so and we kind of did a little senior tribute. So we do.
How long have you been doing that?
This was the first year.
Really?
That we did it.
Did you send your drum majors only back to San Antonio?
No. I told them we weren't coming.
So
Yeah.
you just gotcha.
Yeah.
Just so you
And it was a home run. It was like the best decision we've ever made. It was great.
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
It's fantastic.
Wow, you're going to let other people piggyback on you? That's a really smart idea because it's, I don't want to say an acknowledgement of the reality of the competition at San Antonio, but the reality is there's 80 bands there? And
84, I believe.
84 bands. They're only going to take 14. And the way they do the new thing, I mean, great bands get left out in the shuffle. And so it's the harsh reality is your odds are more against you of making finals. So that's a really awesome idea that y'all are doing. I don't know how many of the programs do something similar to that, but
I don't know.
awesome.
It wasn't something that I planned like way in advance. We were halfway through the season, and I was like, I want to do something. I don't want to go down there and spend the money and do all that.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do this, and I would like to grow it to where it's like just to let's get all the middle school kids there, get them excited about it. Let's maybe, if we can get like our football team to show up to do that,
Like a McNeil cluster celebration.
yeah. And then we also maybe want to have like tailgating.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for. So do y'all would still compete Friday at San Antonio, or you're just?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really cool idea. That's awesome. Thanks. Everyone's going to copy it now. They have to call it the Dimiceli, and they do their hand because that's what.
Well, I'll just say it was very successful for us, and it was very uplifting for our kids and for our parents. And if other programs want to have that, great.
But just not at Dragon Stadium on Saturday night because you're going to be doing it, is what you're saying.
I'm hoping, yeah.
You're hoping. That's cool. So, odd question to ask. So, what's next, Jason?
I don't know.
Mowing your lawn?
I do
Homemaking
need to
pasta?
do that, but the rain, yeah.
That's true. That's true. My wife still talks about the fact that you made pasta. That's why she wants to. That's really the only reason she wants you to hire me back, is so that then I could go to your house and you make pasta for us.
Well, we may have time. Y'all just come up.
Oh, all right. Is the entry fee a bottle of blends?
It would not be turned away.
God, of course. Get in line. Wow. Well, I lie to everyone and say that they've been a pleasure to have on the podcast, but I think you and Ogechi, you're my favorites. Yeah.
Well, we're supposed to be a panel.
I think we're going to do a panel one, maybe when I got none but time, right? I think we're going to watch, it's a black movie, Jason.
Okay.
It's called Friday.
I was going to say we need to watch Friday.
Oh, of
I was
course.
just talking to Cliff about Friday. Well, we always refer to it.
I'm sure, because Cliff, as we've mentioned, is our black friend. Do you have anything funny you want to end the podcast with, Jason?
Any funny? No.
Johnny Carinos, is that good?
No.
Better than Olive Garden?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gun to your head, Fazoli's, Olive Garden, or Johnny Carinos? You take the bullet.
Oh, probably Carinos, I guess.
That's a thrilling endorsement for Johnny Carinos by Jason Dimiceli. This episode of Sketchbook Podcast was recorded in Austin, Texas, and was edited and produced by me, Daniel Montoya Jr. Our logo is created by John Suh of Purpose Designs, and our music is provided by Epidemic Sound. If you enjoy Sketchbook, tell a friend about the show or share a link on social media. You can rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts, and you might find your review featured on a future episode. Got questions, comments, suggestions, or concerns? Email us at sketchbookpodcast@gmail.com. It too could be featured on a future episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @SketchbookPod and join the Sketchbook community on Facebook @SketchbookPodcast. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Sketchbook Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Thanks for listening.